Okay, everyone, welcome to this new moon workshop about how to enhance your feminine magnetism and attract everything you desire in life. This video is one of my favorite topics to speak about in the freaking world when it comes to magnetism and manifestation and quantum physics and all that juicy stuff that we talk about in life. Learning how to increase your own energy for attraction and for magnetism and for radiance is one of the best ways that at least I have come across as far as a framework of increasing your ability to create and attract your dream life. Also, given that at the time that we are filming this video here, filming this workshop, Venus just went into Aries on March 1st of this year. And I feel like, for one, for my girls that are already in my membership bloom, we've already talked about Venus retrograde in Aries a little bit. But if you are watching this, you're watching the replay, you're not quite familiar with Venus in retrograde, what that means. For the next 40 days, pretty much until about April 12th or April 15th, Venus, the planet of love, the planet of attraction, the planet of money, the planet of relationships, all of that juicy stuff that Venus rules over. She is going retrograde in the sky right now. Whenever Venus goes retrograde, that means that these topics might become forefront in our life. The topics of money, the topics of love, the topics of relationship, even the topics of self-worth or self-value or self-regard or what we value might be shifting over the next 40 days and 40 nights. And so when Venus goes retrograde, this can be a really good time to talk about these topics like magnetism and radiance and manifestation. Because interestingly, we might be waking up and maybe not feeling as radiant as we usually are. We might be waking up and feeling like we are having challenges or tensions or issues arise in our love relationships, in our friendships, in our career, our finances, things might be coming up. So this is almost a way to like intentionally think about ways that we can embody some of these more Venusian topics of radiance and magnetism while she's going backwards in the sky. And for the average person, it might actually be more difficult to embody some of these qualities, if that makes sense. It's almost like let's retrograde proof our lives as much as we can while Venus is going backwards and doing what she does in the sky for the next 40 days and 40 nights. And just remembering that when Venus is going retrograde again, one, not a great time to be doing crazy things with your hair or with your like if you're getting any surgeries or things like that. I even have a girlfriend that just like I literally was just on a call with her and she was like, I just got this haircut and like I look like John Bon Jovi. I look terrible. And I didn't have the heart to be like, well, you probably shouldn't do too many beauty treatments during Venus retrograde because you might not like what happens. So just an FYI, if you're watching this video, if you have a haircut plan, maybe move it till after April 12th. Or just be prepared for some of those procedures to not go as well as you were planning. But otherwise, someone just says I got a haircut Saturday. Well, you already did. It started on Saturday. It went retrograde on Saturday. Venus did on the 1st. So, so all of that. Some other topics that might come up outside of like beauty and like things like that. Again, relationship patterns really being highlighted. So if you are currently in a relationship, you're wanting to be in a relationship, know that tensions or issues from the past might be something that come up during this Venus retrograde time. Retrograde, of course, being reflection, redo, reevaluate, re-immerse. Things from the past tend to come up during retrograde periods. All those RE words that we think about. So I say this to say, just give yourself grace and give your partner grace. If you are in a partnered relationship or if you are dating and you are seeing people and you're, playing around in the dating game and seeing what could be going on. I think this could be a really beautiful time to increase intimacy with others and to really get closer to other people and also just realize that that might happen sometimes through conflict or through tension or through misunderstandings because that is just the nature of retrograde action. You might get to have some of those important critical conversations. I think Amelia, actually, you're the one that taught me that term. Like, I get to have this critical conversation right now. That might be happening during Venus retrograde. And that's with friends too. That can be with girlfriends as well. Give yourself grace with your friendships if over the next 40 days you are You are getting the opportunity to have critical conversations with some best friends or other loved ones or family or things like that. These are all things that can come up during this Venus retrograde period. And then the final thing I want to talk about, just like quick, like Venus retrograde little points before we go into our workshop topic. How you express yourself might change over this Venus retrograde period. Again, especially if you are a woman or female identifying, the Venus is one of the major planets that rules you in the sky. It's Venus and the moon that are the two feminine planets. And with Venus going retrograde right now, even as a woman, how you choose to show up, whether it's your fashion or how you choose to show up with your clothing or your makeup or your hair, that could change over the next 40 days. Your value system might be going through some kind of reevaluation evolution period. You might find that what you thought was going to be important to you when this year began, now that we are in March, heading into mid-March, heading into April, that might be changing. And instead of resisting those changes, it might be a really great testament to become the observer in your own life over the next 40 days and 40 nights and just notice like, what is something I thought I was going to be really into and how is that changing right now? Or what is something new that's coming up that's important to me that wasn't necessarily on my radar where the year started? Just giving yourself some space and giving yourself some grace for these changes that might be emerging in your life, particularly given that we know that this retrograde period is happening. Again, I could be going into this and talk about just Venus retrograde in Aries for the next hour, but I'm not going to. But also, I do want to leave time at the end for like Q&A. So if you guys do have any questions about any of this Venus retrograde period stuff, or if you notice some of these topics coming up in your own life, love, money, identity, attraction, then definitely you'll have some time at the end to ask me any personal questions that you want to. But let's dive in. So today's workshop, all about how to increase your magnetism and attract everything you desire. Because you guys know when we're talking about manifestation, we are not talking about that hustle mode life where you set goals, you set a target, and then you, in a very masculine energy way, hustle to try to get that thing. Here in Bloom, here when we're working with feminine energy, it's all about how do we attract our dream life to ourselves? How do we attract that perfect relationship? How do we attract that perfect career? How do we attract those perfect friendships, those perfect travel opportunities, those perfect experiences that make us feel free and make us feel like who we are? This is all about attraction manifestation here, and that means magnetism. Literally, how do you work with the quantum field, working with your own energy that you're putting out into the world and working with the own vibrations that you are either aligning yourself with or not to bring to you the opportunities that you desire, whether that's more money, more abundance, more love, more friendships, a different job opportunity. Maybe you want to move. Maybe you want to travel the world. I mean, maybe you want something different with your body. There are 1,000,000,000 different things that you could be wanting in your life. And what we are doing here, we're flipping the script. Instead of thinking about, I want this, therefore I need to go out and get it. We are talking about how can you become the type of woman that attracts that opportunity into your life. And you guys know, you've seen it with my own life, the way that I have literally recreated my life. Literally this time 2 years ago, I was a lawyer, loved my career, but super overworked, underpaid, tired all the time, was just like, life has to be more than this. And really got deep into feminine embodiment work, really got deep into manifesting through the quantum field, really got deep into learning different magnetism principles and magnetism attraction techniques. And I'm sharing just a tiny little sliver of that with you guys today, just so you can start thinking about, is this a way that I want to start creating my life? This is a new paradigm versus the hustle paradigm that we're used to. And if you want to be someone that starts to increase your magnetism and start creating your life by attracting things into you and attracting opportunities into your field, then this workshop was created for you. Okay. And if this is something that you're really, really interested in, then definitely let's talk later, because this is something I'll be opening an opportunity later on this year for people that want to go even deeper into this type of stuff. Okay. So I'm going to give you kind of 4 different frameworks for how to increase your magnetism and attract what you want. And again, this is just a sneak peek. We could be talking about 100 different frameworks, but we're going to start with 4 today. The first one today here is getting your energy correct, part 1, because there's 2 parts to this. Find where your energy is leaking in your life. And this is what I mean about that. This is real talk here. When we are talking about, everyone wants to talk about, oh, I want to create my dream life, or I want to manifest this, or I want to attract that, or whatever. However, most of us today in the modern Western world are running on an energy deficit, or we are very low on energy. If you are someone that is constantly in a cycle of being tired, maybe catching up on sleep only on the weekends just to get ready for Monday morning again, to be tired again until you hit the next weekend, next Saturday, if you are someone that is chugging caffeine during the day just to make it through your next meetings, if you are someone that feels like you constantly have this endless to-do list, like once you check something off, 3 more things get put back on, then one, not your fault, because this is just the world that we're living in right now. This is just the reality of like the modern world. But two, you're likely running at an energy deficit. And not only if you're trying to create something new in your life, especially if you're trying to magnetize like a dream life, a dream opportunity, a dream relationship, a dream home, a dream job, you need excess energy to create something new. And this is like not something I made up. This isn't even just quantum physics. This is just life. Think about what it takes for someone to grow a baby over 9 months. They literally need an excess of nutrients. They need an excess of calories. They need an excess of rest. They need an excess of time to bring in this new being into the world. That's very easy to make that connection when we're talking about someone literally growing a baby, right? Anything that you are wanting to create in your life, anything that's new, anything that does not yet exist in your reality, think about literally what are the energy and nutrients and energetic containers that you need to build in your life to even create this new thing. You literally, step one, need to have the energy for something new. And that is where literally 80% of us are already losing the game when it comes to wanting to create something new in our lives. Okay, we all have these dreams of like, I want this, or I want that, or I want to achieve this, or I want to achieve that. Do you have energy to create that new thing in your life? And so, as this first pillar of this framework, let's talk about some common things that leak our energy, whether we realize it or not. And these are just things that like, maybe some of them are like, oh shit, that's in my life. Yes, I feel that, I feel that, I feel that. No, I don't have that issue. But even just thinking about if you want something new, one, you have to have the energy for it. Common energy leaks. One, eating foods that don't align with our body, that cause inflammation, or that cause physical discomfort. And I left that open-ended because everyone's different. I could be eating foods that are so good for me that really mess your system up. Or you could be eating foods that are really good for you, but if I ate them, they'd be really bad for me. So this is really about getting in touch with what are the foods that make you flourish, that make you thrive, that make you feel radiant and like you have energy and that make you feel good. And what are the foods that are literally leaking energy from your body? And again, for everyone, it's going to be different. Some people are so good on dairy and they eat it all the time and it helps them build muscle and get their calcium intake. Great. Some people, dairy causes them very bad inflammation, skin breakouts, mucus, things like that. It's like, take a true, honest evaluation of the foods that you're putting in your body. Are they foods that give you extra energy? Or do you notice when you eat, your body is taking so much energy having to digest whatever you put into it because it's possibly not aligned with what your body needs at this moment? Gluten is another big one. My husband has a gluten intolerance. So if he spends all week like eating sandwiches and having pasta for dinner and going to get noodles, like, yeah, that might taste good to his tongue, but it takes his body so much energy to process that type of food because it's not what he's supposed to be eating at the time. Versus if he was just a little bit more disciplined and cut that food out, he has more energy available to do what he needs for life. So that's one thing to think about for your own life of like, what are you eating? And how is that adding to your energy or taking away from it? Two, and this one can be difficult, but we're going to go there. It's Venus retrograde. People, relationships. Who are the people in your life that are draining your energy right now? Whether they are friendships, maybe it's something happening with your parents right now. Maybe it's something happening at work with a colleague or a supervisor, or maybe it's your partner. And I don't mean who's draining your energy, let's just like throw them out, like baby with bathwater. That's not what I'm saying. And we can't always do that anyway. Like we have one mother, right? But what I'm saying is that, okay, someone's asking a question about the food. I'll get to that in a second. Thank you. Please remind me as well. Um, what I'm saying is that notice the people or relationships in your life, and this could even be a momentary thing. Maybe they just are momentarily not aligning with your energy right now. And therefore, you are experiencing relating with them as an energy leak. For instance, and I've given this example before. I have several best friends, but I have one best friend that when I speak with her, before I speak with her, I actually do specific energetic practices that we're not going to go over on this call, but if this is something you're interested again, you'll have the opportunity to go deeper with some of this work with me later this year. I do energy practices before I answer her phone call or before I call her. I still love her. I'm still going to talk to her. I still talk to her all the time. She's one of my favorite people in the world. And also, I noticed that just because of where she maybe is energetically in her life and where I am energetically in my life, when we speak, sometimes it feels to me like a leakage of my energy. And therefore, I literally do energetic practices and like protection and things like that so that I do not experience those leakages. At another time in my life, maybe it was my mother. Maybe it was whenever I saw my mom's phone, flash across my caller ID, I knew that this relationship was going to feel like it was draining me for whatever reason. I've been in situations in the past where it was work, certain colleagues in a job that I was in. And whenever I had to interact with them, it just really felt like almost like something was being sucked from my energy field. And again, I'm very careful with how to say this because I'm not prescribing like, oh, these people in your life are energy vampires or these people are taking something from you. What I am saying, the perspective I'm giving you is that your energy right now is in a certain way and you are aligning your energy and possibly trying to vibrate higher so that you can call in those higher vibration experiences, relationships, people, abundance, and things. And so you start to notice as your energy changes, you're the one evolving, you're the one changing. You might be the one that's actually no longer in alignment with this friend, with this partner, with this colleague, with whoever it is in your life. And so what I'm saying is that not blaming anyone, not calling anyone an energy vampire or a narcissist, but can you just note, almost like taking an audit? I saw someone mention that earlier in the chat. Can you just start to even notice and observe, especially over this Venus retrograde period? Who are the people, friends, relationships, colleagues, situations, even in your life that you notice that after you have interacted with these people, your energy is lower or you feel like you are drained? Just even notice it. You don't even have to do anything at first. Just starting to notice as this continues to come up and up and up again, who are these people that are having this impact on me? And then what can we do about it? A third thing that might be draining you in some way, or at the very least, not adding to your energy, reminding yourself that you need to have excess energy to grow something new. Just like as if you were a plant or growing a baby, you need extra energy, not the same and not a deficit. A lack of movement in your life. And this is physical movement, yet also energetically and emotionally. What do I mean by that? Energetically or emotionally. Do you have a situation in your life that you've been saying for years you want to change? Maybe it's your body. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your finances. Maybe it's a friendship, whatever. We all have different things going on. But for some reason, you just stay in the I want this to change mode, yet you have not taken any steps to actually make any change, even if it's little baby steps, little baby changes. That stagnation can really start to drain us after a while. If you're constantly saying, like, I want to change this about my health, but then you don't make any changes, that can start to be a leak on your energy after a while. If you're saying, oh, I really want to find a relationship, but then you're not taking aligned actions. Maybe you want to find that love of your life, but then you're going on dates with people that you know that you're never going to marry, that are not compatible with you, and that you don't have a future with. that is going to start to leak your energy, drain your energy after a while. So you start to notice these little things, even if these things don't seem related. Like, okay, I came to this workshop because I want to learn how to manifest my dream life. Why are we talking about, the way that I go on dates with people that aren't aligned with my future? It's all connected because these people are leaking your energy. If you are wanting to create something new, not only do you have to have a hyper focus on that, you need to have the energy to do that. And so anywhere in your life, related or not, that is taking energy away from you is going to be taking energy away from your ability to attract and magnetize your dreams. Okay. And stagnation, lack of movement, whether that's physical movement, like you're not working out, you're not doing yoga, you're not going for walks in the wood, whatever it is for you, because we're all different. You might love to swim. Someone else might love to ride their bike. Someone else might love to just go on walks in nature along the river. Whatever it is for you, you need to be moving your body physically, and you also need to be moving things in your life emotionally and energetically. And I love seeing Amelia on screen right now, like doing those little movements that she can. That stuff really matters, especially as women. We are embodied feminine beings. We are embodied. That's one of the big things about the feminine. The masculine is more mental. It's more the mental field, and we all have that as well. The feminine is more embodied. And so even doing little motions throughout your day, you can take 5 minutes a day to dance, to, twirl around in the shower, to go on what I like to call hot girl walks. Every day at 3 o'clock, I try to at least go on like a 30-minute walk, and I call it my hot girl walk. And I just like walk around my neighborhood and like watch YouTube videos on personal development and self-improvement and like whatever. But it's like the little things that we think won't even make a big difference, they do. So lack of movement, staying in the same place. If you have been saying for 8 years, I want to leave my job, but you're still at that job, that is stagnation. If you've been saying for 15 years, like, I hate it when my best friend behaves to me in this way, but then you still let her behave to you in this way, and now we're 15 years in, that is stagnation. And that literally drains you after a while. Okay, someone's asking okay, I will save the questions for the end if I can. I will save the questions for the end. Someone's asking, how do we not get into a perfectionist state about doing this? I will get to that at the end. We definitely have room left over for questions. So please remind me as well if I don't get to that. Lack of movement. And so first practice today that I want you guys to do, take a mini audit right now. If you have a pen or if you have like your notes app up on your computer, pull it up. I want to give you 2 minutes until 35 minutes after the hour. I want you to list the top 3 situations, people, or experiences that are draining your energy in your life right now. And again, it doesn't have to be blame. It doesn't have to be like, my best friend did this to me. It's just like just being very objective and almost being an observer right now and taking any energy of blame out of it or judgment of yourself or others. What are the top 3 places your energy is leaking right now? It could be lack of movement. It could be not eating the right food. It could be stagnation in your relationships. Where is your energy leaking? It could be never getting enough rest because you're constantly on the corporate treadmill. And really, 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 if we can, remember not to like judge ourselves or blame ourselves in this moment. We're just literally taking an audit. Where's our energy going? Where it's not coming back to us. And if you're feeling really brave, maybe pop 1 or 2 or 3 of them in the chat just to share. But this is really for you. Where is your energy being drained? Okay, give you about 30 more seconds. Oh, I love this. Great. You guys are helping each other in the chat, answering questions. I love that. Thank you, Christy. Hmm. Someone says sugar is a big vice. You need to shift the usage to have more energy. That's a big one. And for me, I know this is like unpopular opinion, so I won't go too much into this because everyone's different. Like, I know that caffeine can really be helpful for some people and can really be a very useful plant spirit for them because all plants are spirits. And for some people, caffeine is actually a drain and they become dependent on it and they can literally not function unless they've had a certain amount of caffeine every day. And then on the days where they don't have it, they have headaches. They can't, wake their body up. They are in a mood. Like everyone is very different. So again, I don't want to make blanket statements like, oh, you shouldn't be having any caffeine because, I'm someone that doesn't drink caffeine. But I just notice in my life that that can be an energy leak for some people, or at least becomes a crutch. Someone else says in the chat, I just got rid of a lot of energy drains, so I appreciate this prompt because it's time to reflect again. Yeah, yeah, this is an ongoing thing. Thank you for bringing that into the conversation. This isn't just like, okay, it's March 5th, 2025. I did an energy audit. Here are the three things that drain my energy. I get rid of them. Now my life is going to be perfect and I'm going to be able to manifest whatever I desire. This is continuous work, ladies. And I say work in like quotes because for me, it's not work. It's just like life. And for me, it's worth it. Like if this is what I have to do to live the dream life that I want, like it's not work to me. It's fun. But yeah, this is the practice. This is the work, and it's ongoing. Someone else says probably inflammatory foods. Again, someone might think like, what does me eating, burgers on the weekend have to do with me not manifesting the love of my life? Again, well, how does your body react to that burger? And again, I'm not even saying don't eat burgers. Like I eat so much food. I'm a huge foodie. People who know me personally know that. I eat all the time. But it's just a matter of, are you consistently eating foods that lift you up and that provide you with energy, or are you consistently eating foods that actually take something from you and are therefore impacting your ability to create something new in your life? Someone else says, ooh, this is a big one. Thank you for putting this into the chat. Another major one is I just make a ton of plans. I fill my calendar thinking that the experiences fulfill me, but I know that they inhibit my sleep. This month, I'm being extra mindful about what activities I add, and I'm patting myself in the back when I say no. Ladies, that is a big one. Big, big, big one, especially when you're actually, because there are different stages of manifestation. It's like there's a visioning stage of like dreaming it up. There's a stage of like actually implementing the action steps. There's a stage of like building momentum and pushing it through. There's a stage of like, it's here and now I'm like resting on my laurels. If you're in the building stage, if the thing has not yet come, if you don't literally have time to focus on what you're creating because you're so busy doing other stuff that has nothing to do with what you're trying to build in your life, that can be a massive, massive drain. I was talking to one of the girlies on the call before this, and I just said literally the day that Venus went retrograde a few days ago, I woke up and the download I got was, Ashley, you need to focus on one thing. And that's so interesting because behind the scenes, I've been focusing on a lot of different things. I've been updating my website. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. I've been dreaming of all these new offers for my community and all this stuff. And literally the day Venus went retrograde, my download was, Ashley, focus on one thing. That's it. So that is a big one, being super busy all the time. And also something else, this is a bit like advanced 101, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but we also need time. We need stillness. We need space. We need quiet to make something new in our lives. I don't talk about this a lot. Maybe I need to talk about this more. But like, if you don't have space in your life, if you don't have quiet, if you don't have downtime where you have nothing to do, perhaps even for days at a time, it is very hard to find the energy and the focus to create something new in your life. When I am in like super manifestation quantum leap mode, I will leave like a week or two at a time in my calendar where I have no meetings, which for most people seems crazy. Like they can't even imagine giving themselves 2 weeks with not one work meeting, not one reading, not one call. But I've just seen over time as someone that has manifested thing after thing after thing after thing and gotten what I wanted after what I wanted, we need time and space to one, not be distracted by other people's agendas and other people's just stuff. Two, to really create that thing that we are wanting to create. We need focused time, and that means like space and quiet. We can't be thinking, oh no, I have a call in an hour, or I just need to write this one last page for this project and then I'll get back to it. That's distracting. That's cutting you off from your energy. And then two or three, you get more downloads when you have space. Even if I make two, let's say I'm creating a new offer and I clear my calendar for 2 weeks, I get so many intuitive hits over those 2 weeks that by the end of the 2 weeks, what I thought I was going to offer half the time is different than what I thought it was going to be at the beginning, because my intuition has guided me along a whole path, along a whole journey. But if I didn't give myself that space and time, and if I only give myself the bare minimum, well, here's 2 hours of work time today, and here's 3 hours of work time tomorrow, and here's an hour of work time here, and oh, here's a Saturday off. That end product would look so different because I did not give myself the space and time to receive the intuitive hits and downloads that were needed to birth the thing. So I have a lot to say about that. Thank you for bringing that in. Someone else says, a present and past sticky spot, and this is good for Venus and Aries retrograde. For energy building is energy sucking responses to relationship needs. Yeah. At least I'm catching myself and I want to repeat an old pattern of putting what I'm building on hold for snags that are not mine. Yeah, as women, I would say this is one of the top things that takes our energy is like what our partner needs, what our kids need, what our best friend needs. We're there for everyone else constantly, and we constantly put ourselves last, like literally. And that is honestly just like we just need to continue to break that cycle and break that pattern bit by bit by bit, and time after time after time. Even that's something like, I'm building something and then my husband is like, oh, I need you for this. That's me telling him, I'll see you in 6 hours and I can talk to you about it then. As difficult as that might be in the moment, that is what you need to do. Or I don't, my stepkids are older, so it's a lot different for me than having like little kids who like depend on me. But putting in those big boundaries of like, this is when you can talk to mommy, and otherwise, like, mommy's unavailable because like mommy's literally building her dream life right now. Like, the better that we get at manifesting our life and the more radiant and magnetizing we can become, that is also going to be a good impact on our husbands and on our kids and on our friends. So we need to start to twist the priority scale and really start prioritizing ourselves first. It might seem selfish at first, but actually it's a gift for everybody. The more that you can build from your overflow, the more that you can build from your own creative inspiration, because you're giving yourself as a woman time to create and to flow and to have intuitive downloads, the more time you're giving yourself to like be radiant and like magnetize, that's going to be good for everyone around you. But if you're constantly like not even able to get past the start line, let alone over to the finish line, you can't even get past the start line because you're constantly in these relationship snags. Like someone in the comments said, that is a really, really big one. So thank you also for bringing that to our attention, because that is huge for women. And honestly, all I can say, everyone's situation is different, especially with kids, like that's a little bit of a different one. But when it comes to other adults, like your partner or your parents or whoever, it's like, unless they're sick and you're taking care of them, it's like, you need to just tell them no sometimes, or you let them know when they can have access to you. Like, I will speak to you in 6 hours. That is when I'm done here. And so I want you to think, now that you've written down 3 things that are draining your energy, I just want you to think, you can actually jot it down quick. You can put it just in your head. What is at least one way, walking away from this conversation today before we go to the next pillar, what is one way that you can plug up an energy hole in your life? For someone, it might be reducing sugar. For someone else, it might be more boundaries with when their husband is allowed to interrupt them when they're working. For someone else, it might be, screening more phone calls from certain friends and taking time to just put boundaries around when you are available. to people that suck your energy, whatever it is. Write down just one way that you will take from this conversation that you will plug up an energy leak in your life. Again, without blame and without judgment on other people, because it's you that's changing. Honestly, it's not them. Okay. So number two, this is related to number one. So number one was about energy leaks, find where your energy is leaking. Number two is how to enhance your energy. And this is again directly related to your amount of magnetism. We all know, we've all been in a room, that woman walks in and she might or might not even be the most attractive woman in the world, but for some reason, all eyes turn to her. She literally looks like she's glowing. She is shining. We've all seen that. Sometimes we are that woman. How can we be that woman all the time? Enhance your energy. What are we talking about? How do we do it? We're going to identify different ways to increase the energy in your life. And we're going to be talking about this on like a physical level, like ways to increase your energy, like physically, but also that whole emotional electromagnetic energy is important too. It's one thing to have a big aura. That's what we react to when certain people walk into the room. But how do you increase the vibration of your aura? Let's talk about it a few different ways. So number one of the easiest ways to increase your vibration, and again, this is so easy. Like if there's like one thing you walk away from in this conversation, I don't understand why we don't all just like know this and like live this way, but like we just don't. That's not the world we live in. You turn on the news, you see it's not. One of the easiest ways to increase your vibration, to increase your magnetism, and to increase your ability to attract what you want in your life is to enhance your energy through joy and pleasure. So easy as a concept, but how often and how practiced and how embodied are you in this? How embodied are you in your joy? How embodied are you in your pleasure? Are you a woman that when you walk into a room, people can tell, wow, that woman is so embodied in her joy, or that woman is so embodied in her pleasure? Or is that not the vibration that you are giving to the world in this moment? Again, knowing that our emotions impact our aura through our electromagnetic field. We're not going to get too deeply into this in this conversation. We will talk about this more in the future because I know you guys love that. But most of us are in a joy deficit or a pleasure deficit in our lives. And literally, you can just turn on the freaking TV or like go on to like the latest media news to see how this is true. We're constantly being bombarded with like, here's the next headline that's telling us that the economy is being destroyed. Here's the next headline that's telling us about all this war. Here's the next headline telling us about all the ways that we're fighting with other countries. Here's the next headline of us like burying people in, like we're just doing all this crazy stuff, right? Also understanding that we are separate from what's happening with these governments and with these political systems and like literally these systems that have been built to actively and intentionally rob us of our joy and keep us in our fear. The longer that we are in a fear vibration, the easier we are to control as a society. So how do we get out of that? Either drop this in the chat real quick or write this in your notes on a level of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most. What is your current level of embodied pleasure in life? On the pleasure scale, where are you at? And again, this isn't for shame. This isn't for judging ourselves. This is just getting an audit. Where are we at on the pleasure scale? How much pleasure are we embodying and vibrating in our aura and our daily lives? Someone says depends on the day, but a cool 7, 8. That is great. That is really good for the current climate. Someone else between a 6 and a 7. So a little bit above just the medium. That's good. That's on the right side of things for what we're talking about for magnetism. Anyone else feel free to share and also just have this in your notes. This is for you. Again, feel like a 3 to a 4. Yep. That is totally, I mean, that's probably more normal these days than not. Some of the stuff that we're talking about, like I said, is really easy as a concept, but it's more difficult to embody. And that's really why we create these spaces of women like Bloom and other spaces that you might belong to, because this is like, at this point for me, joy and pleasure is an act of resistance in our current climate of where the world is right now. Pleasure is an act of resistance. Joy is activism. To show up in our joy, to show up in our pleasure on a daily basis is literally an act of, feels like political resistance at some points. Okay. So let's talk. Someone says chills. Yes. No, literally for me, this is like a political movement thing. And for y'all who know me and have known me for a while, my background's in politics. I used to work for senators and at the state capitol before I went to law school, and I've lived in DC twice. And so my background is politics and policy analysis and activism before I became a lawyer. Literally joy and pleasure as a state of activism and resistance to what is going on right now on a global collective scale. And that is what is going to change all of this bullshit that we see happening. All this fear, all this terror, all this destruction of human rights. It's going to be joy and pleasure as a big part of how we get out of this current shithole that we're in. And like, excuse my swearing and things like that, but like things are not great right now on a, global scale. And we need to start talking about how do we make these changes. And falling into the fear side of the dynamics is what they want us to do. And that is the plan. And it's working most of the time. So for those of us who can literally stand embodied and something different to that and something resistant to that, that's going to be what gets us out of this. So what are some ways to enhance our pleasure? And again, we're talking about simple stuff here, like pleasure 101, okay? Aligned movement. So movement that feels good to you. We're all different. For some people, it might be dance. If you love to dance, when is the last time you danced? Okay. Like if you love to dance, you should be dancing probably every day, if that's something you like to do. Exercise for other people, yoga for others, walking in nature for others, skiing and snowboarding for others. What is the movement that speaks to you and to your soul? And how often are you allowing yourself this movement? Like for me, I love to dance. It's like I have it, that's part of my daily spiritual practice is dancing. And then not only that, but then I'm literally like at shows most weekends of my life, going out to see live music, dancing with people I care about, dancing in community, dancing with friends. If you love yoga or surfing or, whatever else it is that you love, how often do you allow yourself to do it? And I say allow because at this point, it's like we're all adults here. We choose how we spend our time. If you are someone that loves, 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 loves to go skiing, but you only do it like twice a year, why? If you absolutely feel like walking in the woods like rejuvenates you and brightens up your soul, how often do you make time for this? Maybe you spend an hour or two a day, like looking at TikTok or scrolling through Instagram or watching Netflix. And those are all things that can suck your soul after a while and get you into like comparison-itis and all that stuff. So you can spend 2 hours a day doing that. You're like, oh no, I live too far away from the woods. So I only go walking in the woods twice a year. Well, if you took those 2 hours a day that you spend doing soul-sucking activities on your phone, and then you said took that time and then like maybe went to the woods on the weekend or whatever, like you get what I'm saying? Like we choose how we spend our time. It's time to start reprioritizing things that make us feel embodied in our joy and pleasure and starting to restrict the things that maybe suck our soul a little bit or put us in fear mode. Again, food, bringing that up again, food as pleasure. Food is one of the senses. How often do you eat foods that light your senses, that light your pleasure, not just those quick like dopamine, like sugar hits, although, I'm gonna have a sweet tooth too, and I love to eat sugar. I will say that. But for me, that means like I love eating like healthy, organic, luxurious foods. I love indulging in things like sushi or uni or, there are certain foods that speak to you. Maybe you're a pasta girly and you just like love a good plate of pasta, but maybe you restrict because you're worried about your weight or for other reasons. It's like, how often do you allow yourself to indulge and eating the foods that just make you feel alive. Someone else says edible flowers. I love that one. So good, so feminine, so joyful. And flowers have energy. You are what you eat. If you are someone that's eating edible flowers a few times a week, that is going to be inserted into your energy field. People are going to be able to feel that from you. Someone else says dancing daily is a must do for me, even if it's just a few wiggles. Yeah, absolutely. And how often are you limiting or restricting those dead foods? So like food that comes in like packages, right? So like not whole foods or whole meats or whole whatever, but foods that just like if your great great grandmother doesn't know what it is, like my great great grandmother doesn't know what flaming hot Cheetos are. So I've had to stop eating so much of them because those aren't real food. Like I heard that once from the Omnivore's Dilemma, Michael Pollan. That's literally a line in the book. He's like, if your great great grandmother doesn't recognize this thing as food, it's probably not food. And I'm like, okay, grandma doesn't know what flaming hot Cheetos are. I need to stop. Okay. Other self-care activities that can increase your magnetism. These are more personal for everyone. Some of these things might hit for you, some of them might not, but just giving a long list so you can just start thinking about what is it for you, okay? Because we are all different ecosystems here. Regular massage, acupuncture, chiropractic work, body work, okay? Hair care. I love specifically not just like going to a salon and getting my hair cut, but like Ayurvedic hair care. Like I literally make my own hair care oils and work with different clays like bentonite and amla and bringraj and Brahmi and stuff and make my own hair care masks, face masks, like giving yourself your own at-home facials, or if you've got the cash, going to spas and doing stuff like that. Taking spiritual baths. Again, a spiritual bath is free. I take a bath probably at least 4 times a week, if not more. And that is literally just putting a little bit of, essential oil in there, putting in some Epsom salt, and bathing with intention. Maybe today your intention is to release any doubts you have about your ability to create the life that you want. Maybe you're taking a bath and your intention is to increase your magnetism and your radiance so that you can start feeling like a more radiant embodied version of yourself. Maybe you want to take a bath and release like a bad fight that you just had with your best friend or with your mom, whatever it is. When I say taking a spiritual bath, it's taking a bath with intention. Water is one of the most powerful conductors of energy and intent that literally exists on this planet. Water can conduct so much energy. They've done so many studies on how you can put an intention into water and it will literally change the shape of the water crystal depending on what you've done. They play music to different water crystals and then they look at the water crystals under a microscope. And depending on if you're playing like thrash metal or Mozart, literally the shape of the crystal of the water changes. The fact that we as humans are over 70% water ourselves. And that is one reason that we are so greatly impacted by the moon and the gravitational pull of the moon, just like the tides of the ocean. I'm a sailor and literally the tides change by what the moon is doing, whether it's a full moon, new moon, what time of day it is, what season it is. All of that is water reacting to what's going on in our solar system. And so that's within us. And we can also put that intention into the baths that we take. If you don't have a bath, you can do this in the shower as well. Taking intentional showers where you are putting in intentional, like I'm manifesting this, I'm releasing this, I'm calling in this. Start to work with water, and that will also change your life. Okay. Saging your space, lighting scented candles, doing aromatherapy at home, having those cute little aromatherapy, like, you put the essential oil diffusers in different rooms and just cleansing your space constantly. These are all different self-care activities you can start doing that don't cost a lot of money and that you can start doing on a regular basis. And this will start impacting your aura. This will start impacting your energy, and this will start to increase your magnetism. Any other self-care things? I'd love to see people either throw something in the chat or say something really quick. Like, what is your self-care routine that you do? Another friend says spaces. Yes, we have a feng shui expert on this call. And so she says cleaning always lifts the chi in a space. Absolutely. So like think about your home right now. What is the impact of your home on your energy? Again, no guilt, no judgment, but like, are you currently living in a space that is cluttered, has a lot of old stuff around, is really disorganized? And again, I'm there too, right? I'm not perfect or better than anybody. Are you constantly just like in these spaces that have all this crap around that no longer relevant for your life or that is weighing down your energy? Or do you live in a space that is light, that is free flowing, that you sage on a daily or a weekly basis? Like, how often are you saging your house? And then our feng shui expert says, even us, it's a relationship like anything else. Yes. It's like, how often are you saging and cleansing yourself? Is that in your spiritual practice? Okay. Really, really, really start to think about, what is one or two things that you can start implementing into your life on a daily or at least a weekly basis so you can intentionally uplift your own energy and your ability to attract. For me, self-care, it's not something we do once a month. And it's not some trendy thing that we do once a month. Like, I'm going to go pay $200 for this massage, or I'm going to pay for this spa weekend. Self-care is a state of mind. And I'll say that again. Self-care is a state of mind. If you are on this workshop because you are very interested in becoming an even more magnetic embodied woman, self-care is a state of mind. And what is your current state of mind with how you care for yourself, with how you nurture yourself? Or do you just run around? Maybe you just like brush the comb through your hair for 2 seconds in the morning. You throw on the old, clothes that you wore twice already this week because you're just on Zoom calls anyway. Nobody can see you. You don't really clean your bathroom or clean your house or sage your space. You're always rushing. It's like even just slowing down and caring for yourself the way you would care for a precious vase or a newborn baby, or how you would care for a lover, if that is something that you're calling into your life, caring for yourself like you would care for a lover. That's one of my biggest mentors. She said to me once, she was like, and this is a whole other thing, but she was like, Ashley, like self-seduction, pretty much saying that's one of the most powerful things in the world. And that's not necessarily what you think it is. It's not just like, it's like, do you live your life in a way that you are seducing yourself throughout life? Do you make yourself the most luxurious dinners? Do you put yourself the most luxurious silky robes? And do you put the most silky conditioners in your hair? And do you spray yourself with your favorite perfume, even when you're home alone? Or do you just like treat yourself like an afterthought and then wonder why you're not creating this really magnetic, beautiful life? That's what we're getting to, ladies. All these things matter. Yeah. Someone else says making themselves lunches with arugula and spinach. Yeah. Trying new restaurants. Oh, taking yourself out to eat. Again, I'm a freaking married woman. I take myself out to eat all the time. It is so important to romance yourself. We're constantly like, oh, I'll go where my partner wants to eat, or go where the kids want to eat, or I'm just going to go get something cheap because I'm trying to save money. Yes, those things are important. Saving and investing and budgeting is important too. And also, like, guaranteed, you can find places where your money's leaking in one area of your life. Maybe you have like 8 different, Hulu subscriptions. Maybe get rid of one of your Hulus and take that saved money and take yourself out for a nice dinner once a month. Romancing yourself, seducing yourself, loving yourself, nurturing yourself. It's like if you want to become that woman that gets what she wants, this is what that woman does. Okay. And so for this section, name 1 or 2 or 3 activities that enhance your energy, that you love, that vibrate with you. Maybe it's taking yourself out to dinner once a month. Maybe it's taking more intentional spiritual baths. Maybe it's dancing. Maybe it's giving yourself, spa days at home with like face masks and things like that. What are 1, 2, or 3 activities that you can start to implement into your life, either that you already do, but now you want to do it more intentionally, or that you don't do and you're going to commit to doing it? Someone says yoga, yep, baths, chocolate, dance, ice cream, more massage and walks, and nature to come. Yes, exactly. This isn't brain surgery. This isn't that hard. It's like we just have to do the thing. Better to do one thing and do it well and see your life literally shift from that than to do nothing at all. Daily nourishing foods, cardio targets, super soft toes. Yes. Yeah. For me, it's dancing. It will always be dancing. Beautiful. And so, yeah, either throw it into the chat or just write it down on your own time on your notes. But like, really commit to at least one or two things that you can start implementing into your life on a daily or weekly basis. Pillar number 3. We talked about energy, how to get rid of energy leaks, and then how to enhance our energy because we need energy to do anything that we want in life. Okay. Without energy, you're a vegetable. Okay. Number 3, getting really connected with your soul aligned desires. And honestly, this section could be its own like 4-month course. So I'll just touch on what I can and we'll talk about what we can, but this is so deep, but let's get started. Clarifying what you want in life, connecting with the soul aligned desires by activating your feminine energy centers, your heart, your third eye, your womb. I mean, we all see those actresses, especially, we just had the Oscars this past weekend on my birthday, and I did not watch them. But, you see all the Oscars, like, 25 best looks on the red carpet and, whatever. And you just see some of the most gorgeous, most abundant, most, high status women in our society. That's one of the days that they all come out and they prance in front of us. And something that you will see and notice in some of them, that they are so embodied in their hips, like their womb space, they have so much presence. Like if you see Salma Hayek, right? That woman is embodied in her hips and her womb. Okay. And for those of you who've been in bloom for a long time, we know that the 3 feminine energy centers is our third eye we work with for our intuition. We work with our heart space to make sure that we're making aligned decisions from our heart. And we work with our womb because that is our feminine energy, our seat of creation. And also like deep, deep intuitive knowing comes from our womb space. You cannot feel a lie in your womb. Your womb space literally cannot lie to you. And women in general are really good at 2 things: staying up in their head, which is their masculine. So you could spend 40 years just up in your headspace, thinking about what you want in life, strategizing to how you get what you want in life. Oh, why don't I have what I want? Why isn't this working out? You're still in your head. You're literally a disembodied head. We talked about this in the full moon and Leo call. You're a disembodied head walking around without any connection to your heart and to your womb, which is literally what makes you a magnetic woman. Even if we think about the stereotypes or the tropes of like a Jessica Rabbit or I'm trying to think of the actress. Who is she? I saw a photo of her, like the actress who was in Voltaire, Penelope Cruz, or a Holly Berry. All of these women are in their bodies. Angelina Jolie, in their bodies. Okay? You need to get into your body. Like I said, we can't do that all on this call today, but we can do a little bit. So we're really good at being in our heads and not being in our bodies. And 2, women are really good, I've noticed after working with women for years, we're really good at knowing what we don't want in life. We're not as great at identifying what we do want. We can say, I don't want that type of job. I don't want that type of man or woman. I don't want that type of relationship. I no longer want to deal with these health issues or these, whatever, these money issues. I don't want to deal with these, whatever they are, right? However, when you're trying to create something in life, you do not create from what you don't want. You create from being crystal clear through alignment with your heart, your third eye, and your womb of what it is you're creating in your life. You need to be in alignment in all 3 of those spaces on what you're doing and putting all your focused energy toward those things. And so we also get in this trap, and this isn't just a woman thing. This is anyone. We think we know what we want in life. We're like, oh, I want to make $100,000 a year. Well, that's very specific. Who says who? Is that really what you want? Or is that just what you've been told? Like, I feel like that's a number that's just thrown around constantly. What is $100,000 to you anyway? Maybe it is what you want. Maybe it's not. Or people who are like, oh, well, I want to live in a house in the suburbs with a picket fence and like 2.5 kids. Is that really what you want? Or is that just what we've been conditioned to want? It's like some of us want to travel the world. Some of us honestly want to live in a cabin in the woods, like growing a flower garden and growing herbs and like having cute parties with our friends. Some of us want to buy a forever home in the south of France and like leave America. Some of us want to find true love and we don't care what it looks like or where they live. That's just an experience that we want to have in life. Some of us want to be business owners and start businesses or build some kind of legacy that way. We need to get really, really clear on what it is we're building in life. We need to get the negative, I don't want this, I don't want that, out of our vocabulary. And we need to get clear on what we are creating. Because a little bit of quantum physics here, the brain does not understand negatives. When you say, I don't want a lazy boyfriend, the do not does not compute in the brain. What comes up, what your brain pictures is a lazy man on the sofa. And the more that you talk like that about like telling your friends what you don't want and telling your friends situations that you don't like in your life, your brain is going to recreate those things because it doesn't understand the negative. It's just going to create a visual of that thing and give you more of that. So instead of saying like, I don't want a lazy boyfriend, you might switch that and say like, I want a husband who provides for me and allows me to go after my dreams because he provides for me. Or instead of saying like, I don't want this job where I am stuck to the desk all the time. Maybe flip that and say, I want a job where I have time and space freedom and I make great money while still being allowed to create my own schedule. Something like that. Even reframing what you want, you would be shocked how often you're probably wishing for things in the negative tense. And for a lot of reasons that we're not going to get into here, that doesn't work. That's like neurolinguistic programming type of stuff. We must put our desires in the positive frame. And we must ensure that our desires are what we really want. Oh, I want to be a lawyer. I want to make 6 figures. Well, do you? Or is that just what you've been told you want to do? What do you actually want in life? And sometimes it's a journey. Sometimes we don't know that answer right away. And then that can scare us. We cover up that not knowing with going after false goals, going after false senses of achievement, going after external validation, because we're too scared to actually, one, look at what we really want in life, or two, maybe we know what we really want, but we don't think we're actually worthy of it. Like maybe you are a woman that wants to travel the world and be time and experience time, space, freedom while making good money. Maybe a part of you thinks that that will never happen for you, that you're just not the kind of person that gets to have those experiences. So that's for other types of people. That's for other types of women. It's not for you. This stuff goes so deep. And again, if you want to get deeper into that, you have the opportunity to go deeper with me later on this year. But for right here, for right now, this is getting into deep alignment with the heart, with the third eye, with the womb. I feel like I want to do an embodiment exercise right here, but I don't know if we have enough time. So I think that what I want to do is pause on the embodiment exercise here. I want to talk about the fourth thing, the fourth pillar for today. And then I want to make sure I leave space open for any questions that came up for you guys, any more explanations that you guys want, any of that stuff. Okay. Because we only have like 15, 20 minutes left. But yeah, this stuff is really deep. And also for those of you who are, already in bloom, which is like everyone on this call anyway, it's like, this is the heart womb work that we do all the time. But getting kind of really deeper and more intentional with it is kind of how you start to really listen to the whispers of your soul and start making decisions that are aligned with your soul versus making decisions that are from external sources or external pressure or just from like what you think you're worth versus what you actually want. Some of us, we literally, excuse my language, we cock block our own dreams because we're like, well, I can't really have this, so I'm going to pretend to want this, right? Because that's what we feel like we're able to get. But that's not actually what we want. And that's not actually aligned with what we desire. So we have to be really careful about that. And so the fourth thing that really goes with this, the fourth pillar of increasing our magnetism and attracting what we desire in life is adjusting our limiting beliefs to align what it is that we really desire. So one, what is your true desire, not your fake desire, or your external validation desire? And then two, what limiting beliefs do you need to change, to adjust, to update, or to evaluate to align with what you desire? Let's get really meta for a minute. I have a teacher who teaches that every belief is a limiting belief anyway, because as humans, we can never truly understand or know the true nature of the universe, right? There's so much going on. We will never really actually understand God, or we'll never actually understand how quantum manifestation works. We'll never actually understand the true nature of love, whatever it is, right? So if every belief is a limiting belief anyway, why not create limiting beliefs that align with what you desire? You have so many beliefs running through your system, your subconscious at all times. I'm not worthy of this life. I'll never be that kind of girl. People like me don't find true love. There's no good men out there, or good women, or good whomever out there. I can never buy a house because of this. Oh, I can never travel because of this. We have so many limiting beliefs. And if every belief is a limiting belief, or I like to say every belief is a half truth anyway, because we can never know the ultimate truth. I don't think we know the ultimate truth until we like die and go back to source. And then then we find it all out anyway. But just like an ant cannot truly comprehend what it means to be a human being, I don't believe we as human beings can truly comprehend the true nature of the universe. So if everything we believe is a half truth anyway, why not become so freaking delusional in what we believe is true for our lives? Why not believe things that align with who you want to be? Are you that person that says, I want true love, but then you're the person that says, there's no good people out there. There's no good men out there. I hate dating apps. Like, are you someone that wants to travel the world, but then you get an opportunity to travel and you make them an excuse of like, why I can't do it? I can't afford it. I can't do this. I can't do that, whatever. We have so many beliefs that we're constantly piling onto ourselves. And so again, this is a whole other audit. It's like, what beliefs do you have that are supportive of the life that you do want to live? What beliefs do you have? Like, yes, I believe I can do this. I believe I'm capable of this. I believe I'm capable of that. And then on the flip side, what beliefs do you have that are a limit to the kind of life that you want to live? Like for me, I'd say an example for me that I used to have, this one's gotten better. I used to have the belief that if you wanted to make a certain amount of money, you had to work really hard. I grew up in the Midwest in like an upper middle class family where hard work was like really, really admired. And that was just what you grew up in. Like you need to work hard and then you make money and then you'll get what you want, but you have to put the hard work in first. And I've literally spent the last like 15 years of my life dismantling that. And one way I did that was look at people that have what you want that don't have that belief. I know so many wealthy people that do not work hard for whatever reason. Some of them were born into it. Some of them were just good at investing. So they made money in the past and they invested it well, and now they are living off of that. Some of them, I mean, everyone's different, but it's like whatever belief you have, like I have to work hard to make money. And if that is something that's stopping you from then following your dream because you don't want to work hard, I don't want to work hard. I actually don't value working hard, actually. That's not the same as like valuing like achieving something, but like hard work. I feel like that's something that they say to keep the masses down. The most wealthy people I know aren't working that hard. They're just working a lot smarter than we are, and they understand money and investments and finances. Or another thing maybe that people might have is like, oh, I have to work out a lot to get my dream body. Well, I don't work out that much and I have my dream body. It's like you might, so, and these are very specific to me. You might have your own things in your life if you really, really dig into your mindset that's keeping you back, limiting you from achieving what you want because this belief says that you can't have that. And maybe some of you guys have a belief that you could share in the chat. And that would be really like kind of more illustrative of what this is like. But like I said, for me, the best example is like having friends that say they want to be married or to find the love of their lives, but then they say things like, well, there's no good men out there. or there's no good women out there. Do you see how if you think those two things, one cancels the other out? And it's really hard to magnetize and attract someone while thinking that there's no one good out there. And so this could be something that you journal to yourself. This could be something that you drop in the chat if you're brave enough. But what's really important is starting to get those beliefs aligned with what we desire. And what really helped me, like I said, with like the wealthy person example, start finding people that have what you want that go like that aren't in alignment with the limiting belief. Like I said, I started looking at examples of people that had money that did not work hard. And that helped me break this idea that hard work equals money. Because I found examples that were outside of that. And so you can look and find examples too. Like, let's say you are, an older woman, you're 60 years old, and you're like, oh, I'll never find love because I'm too old. Then I would say to you, well, go find examples of people that are 60, 70, 80 and are getting married to help break that belief for you. Because no belief is absolute and guaranteed whatever you truly believe, there's somebody alive right now that is a living example of how your belief is wrong, how your limiting belief is not correct. And it's just a limiting belief. Unless it applies to every single person on the planet, it is not a true belief. It is not a universal truth. And that is low key one of the best ways that we can work with our own subconscious to start attracting what we want in life. Digging out those limiting beliefs, identifying them, and changing and evolving them. Okay. And this time that we had love. Oh, I love this. My aunt met her love at 70 and got married at 72. That is my favorite. Thank you for that example. I personally love stories of like old people getting married. I don't know why. That's always been something for me. It might be because my Venus is at 29 degrees of Capricorn. That's like the oldie Venus sign. But like I have friends who are like 33 and they're like, I'm an old maid, I'm washed up, I'm never getting married. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like you're in your prime. Like stop. Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Your aunt fell in love at 70 and got married at 72. Thank you. Exactly. I love that so much. Okay. Any questions? Any final thoughts? Anything you guys want to talk about? I know that there were questions up in the chat too, so I can always go back to those as well. But any questions? And I can also, for the warning I gave in the beginning about this being video, I can actually stop the recording. I won't post anything about this part. Um, I'll keep the recording on just for the Bloom girls to watch later, but I'll stop the recording here.